Good morning, everybody. So today we will be looking at the fixed phrases. So these are the phrases. This is a portion. This is a section from use of English. So you can have a look at the meaning over here also. So what I'm planning to do is that I will be discussing all these meanings in details, so that we have a better understanding and control over the vocabulary. So abeyance, so this is the pronunciation, abeyance. So the vocabulary is abeyance, which means a temporary halt or a state of not happening, that is known as abeyance. Okay, the hostility between the two groups have been in abeyance since last June. So the preposition, if you notice, it is in abeyance. Okay, hostilities between the two groups have been in abeyance since last June. So one more sentence, the project is being held in abeyance until agreement is reached on funding it. So the project is being held in abeyance. Okay, held in abeyance means the project is temporarily halted. Okay, the project is being held in abeyance until agreement is reaching on funding it. So synonym is dormancy, or you can say latency or suspension or stop. So the project is being held in abeyance. So this is the vocabulary you can expect in the use of English exercise. Held in abeyance until agreement is reaching on funding it. So some more sentence. And so he hung there, a superhero in abeyance, shrugging the audience hopelessly. And so he hung there, a superhero in abeyance. It was held in abeyance. So this is the fixed phrases, held in abeyance last year, as no candidate was considered sufficiently original. So one more sentence is remained in abeyance. Held in abeyance, remained in abeyance, remained in suspension. Then she sat back for she was feeling unaccountably weak through, though the pain still remained in abeyance. Then she sat back for she was feeling unaccountably weak, though the pain still remained in abeyance. So held in abeyance, remained in abeyance. So next vocabulary is abort. So let's look at the pronunciation.
Abode, abode.
So abode means, it is a home, house, accommodation. So abode means the place where someone lives. The defendant is of no fixed abode, has no fixed permanent home. The defendant is of no fixed. So this is also, it's like a fixed sentence, no fixed abode. Welcome to my humble abode. Welcome to my humble abode. So synonym is dwelling place. So the defendant is of no fixed abode, has no permanent home. So this is a fixed phrase, no fixed abode. So this is used in legal cases to say that someone does not have a permanent address. So if you want to say that they don't have a permanent address, you can say no fixed abode. 3 men, all of no fixed abode, appeared in court charged with violent disorder. 3 men, all of no fixed abode, appeared in court charged with violent disorder. They have no fixed abode and live outside the constraints of ordinary society. They have no fixed abode and live outside the constraints of ordinary society. So far we learned abeyance, no fixed abode. So now out and about. So the next one is out and about, which means active. Out and doing the thing you usually do, that is known as out and about. The doctor says she is making a good recovery and she should be out and about in a few weeks' time. The doctors say she is making a good recovery and she should be out and about in a few days' time. So the next is, despite considerable pain, she has been getting out and about almost as normal. So getting out and about as normal. So despite considerable pain, she has been getting out and about almost as normal. The next sentence is, the regulations were relaxed and the prisoners could get out and about a bit. So the regulations were relaxed. The regulations were relaxed and the prisoners could get out and about. Okay, get out and about a bit. Next is abstract. Abstract means general ideas. So I have difficulty dealing with the abstracts. Let's discuss particular cases. So I have difficulty dealing with the abstracts. Let's discuss the particular cases. So next sentence is, so far we have only discussed the question in the abstract. So which means without referring to the any real example. So far we have only discussed the questions in the abstract without referring, which means without referring to any real examples. Consider more or less in abstract. So next phrase is of your own accord. So what do you mean by that? If you do something of your own accord, you do it without being asked to it. So you are doing it without being asked to it. That is known as of your own accord. So the sentence is, she came of her own accord. No one asked her to come. So she came by herself, like that. She came of her own accord. No one asked her to come. She came of her own accord. Next is, before it was with of your own accord. Now with one accord. So if people do something with one accord, they do it in together and in complete agreement. So they will be doing it together and in complete agreement. That is known as with one accord. Previously it was of your own accord, and this is with one accord, means together and in complete agreement. So with one accord, the delegates walked out of the conference. With one accord, the delegates walked out of the conference. So they are in complete agreement and they are together. With one accord, the delegate walked out of the conference. A vague murmur of accord rose from around the table. A vague murmur of accord. So an international accord banning landmines was signed in Canada last month. An international agreement together. An international accord banning landmines was signed in Canada last month. The accord ended nearly 2 decades of civil war in the region. So remaining. Ministers from 20 countries approved an accord to cooperate in the fighting against terrorism. So here it is, approved an accord Diplomats worked through the night in an attempt to forge an accord. Forge means fraud.
Forge.
He forged a great suit of black armor. So, create strong or enduring or successful. Build. Okay, let's see what is the meaning of here. Diplomats work through the night in an attempt to forge an accord. So, build, work together in an attempt to forge an accord that will resolve the crisis. So, the next sentence is agree to differ. Agree to differ. So means to end an argument amicably while maintaining differences of opinion. To end an argument amicably. So to end an argument amicably while maintaining the difference of opinion, that is known as agree to disagree. So just look, we can look at the meaning of amicably. So in a friendly manner, in a friendly and peaceful manner, that is known as amicably. So to end an argument friendly manner while maintaining the difference of opinion. So agree to differ. So the sentence is, this is the subject on which we must agree to differ. This is the subject on which we must agree to differ and choose to agree to differ on certain things. So they come to an agreement, they come to an they want to end an argument, but they are having a different opinion. So we must agree to differ on this. My point being that perhaps the only secret of success is in a relationship is to agree to differ. My point is that perhaps the only secret of success is in any relationship is agree to differ. So this is the best sentence for family relationship related essays or any speaking section. Now agree to disagree. So agree to disagree. To agree not to argue anymore about a difference of opinion. So similar only, agree to disagree or agree to differ. He likes golf and his wife like tennis. So when it comes to sports, they have agreed to disagree. He likes golf and his wife like tennis. So when it comes to sports, they have agreed to disagree. We will either avoid talking about these things or agree to disagree about them. We will either avoid talking about these things or agree to disagree about them in arrears.
Arrears. Arrears.
Arrears.
Arrears. Arrears.
Only 75 of its 7,300 borrowers are in arrears. So which means owing money that should have been paid in the past, that is known as arrears. So liabilities or indebtedness, owing money. So the next sentence is, about 1,80,000 homeowners were more than 3 months in arrears. About 1,80,000 homeowners were more than 3 months in arrears. Okay, the sentence is childcare often has to be paid for in advance while salaries are paid in arrears. Childcare often has to be paid for in advance. So paid for in advance while salaries are paid in arrears. So to be paid for or are to be paid in arrears. Next is cast light on something. Cast light on something means to provide an explanation for a situation or problem or information that make it easier to understand. So that is known as to provide an example for a situation. So that is cast light on something. The discovery of the dinosaur skeleton has cast light on why they become extinct. The discovery of the dinosaur skeleton has cast light on why they became extinct. So there is an explanation. To provide an explanation. Now cast a look or glance or smile. So cast a look, glance or smile, which means to look everything in a particular direction. She cast a quick look in the rear mirror. She cast a quick look in the rear mirror. Cast an or your eye over something. To look quickly at something, that is known as cast your eye over something. Cast a look, previously it was cast a look, glance or smile, cast an eye, your eye over something. Could you cast an eye over this report for me? Could you cast an eye over this report for me? So next is cast doubt, suspicion on somebody or something, which means to cast doubt or suspicion on somebody or something, to make people feel less sure about or have less trust in somebody or something. To make people feel less sure about or have less trust. So which simply means they feel less sure about or have less trust. That is known as cast doubt or suspicions. That only the meaning. Okay, doubt and suspicion. New evidence has cast doubt on the guilty verdict. New evidence has cast doubt on the guilty verdict. Some more additional vocabulary have been discussed over here. So next vocabulary is aspersions.
Aspersion. Aspersion.
Aspersion means defamation. Okay. To criticize or make damaging, defamation. To criticize or to criticize or make damaging remarks or judgments about someone or something, that is known as cast aspersions on somebody or something. So this is a formal language, cast aspersions. So that which means defamation. His opponents cast aspersions on his patriotism. So his opponents cast aspersions on his patriotism. Next is, this is C2 vocabulary, cast your mind back, which means try to remember. If you cast your mind back, you might recall that I never promised to go. If you cast your mind back, which means if you try to remember, you might recall that I never promised to go. Now cast your vote, which means to vote. So all the votes in an election have now been cast and the counting has begun. So the sentence is incomplete. All the votes in the elections have now been cast and all the counting has begun. Now cost an arm and leg means to be very expensive. The repair work cost an arm and leg, which means an expensive. Throw somebody off balance. To confuse or upset someone for a short time by saying or doing something that they are not expecting. Throw somebody off balance means to confuse or upset someone for a short time by saying or doing something that they are not expecting. The question threw him off balance for a moment. The question threw him off balance for a moment. She was trying to behave as if his visit hadn't thrown her off balance. She was trying to behave as if his visit hadn't thrown her off balance. Next is on the ball. So, on the ball means aware of any changes or development and quick to react to them is on the ball. We need someone who is really on the ball to answer questions from the press. Really aware of any changes or developments and quick to react to them, that is known as on the ball. We need someone who is really on the ball to answer questions from the press. She really is on the ball. She bought houses at auction, so she knows what she is doing. She really is on the ball. Let me check any picture is there for this. So these are the pictures related to on the ball. She knows what she is doing. So below the belt. So if a remark is below the belt, it means insulting and unfair. Below the belt means insulting and unfair. That is known as below the belt. So these are pictures for below the belt. I didn't find any good. Do you think it is bit below the belt what they are doing? It's unfair or insulting. Do you think it's a bit below the belt what they are doing? This kind of below the belt discrimination. Below the belt, cruel, unfair discrimination. So we want to see an end to this kind of below the belt discrimination. So it has some more meanings: unfair, foul, crooked, cowardly. And next vocabulary is beside yourself. So if you're beside yourself with anger or excitement, it could be with anger or excitement. You are extremely, which means you are extremely angry or excited. He had shouted down the phone at her, beside himself with anxiety. He had shouted down on the phone at her. So he had shouted down at the phone at her, beside himself with anger. Kathy was beside herself with excitement. So with excitement. So he was beside himself with grief when she died. Be beside the point. To be in no way connected to the subject that is being discussed. So be beside the point means to be in no way connected to the subject that is being discussed. Let's stick to discussing whether the road should be built at all. The exact cause is beside the point. So which means beside the point means to be in no way connected to the subject that is being discussed. Bide your time. Bide your time means to wait patiently for a good opportunity to do something. So that is known as bide your time. So wait patiently. So these are the Google images for bide your time. Some quotes further with that sentence. He is just biding his time until a permanent job opens up. He was content to bide his time patiently, waiting for the opportunity to approach her. So be in the black. So Be in the black means if a person or an organization is in the black, they do not owe anyone any money. So be in the black means if a person or an organization is in the black, they do not owe anyone any money. So that is the meaning of be in the black. The company's operation in Japan are now in the black. They don't owe anyone's money. Until his finances are in the black, I don't want to get married. Until his finances are in the black, I don't want to get married. In the red. So if a person or company is in the red, or if their bank account is in the red, they have spent more money than they have in their account, and therefore they owe money to. So just opposite only, they owe the money, that is known as in the red. So the theatre is some pounds in the red. If you do go into the red, you get charged 30 paise for each transaction. If you do go into the red, so it's like if you do go into the red, you get charged 30 paise for each transaction. Blaze a trail. Blaze a trail means to do something that has never been done before. That is known as blaze a trail. So Mr. X blazed a trail in architecture, which means he hadn't done it before. This party is blazing a trail for the advances of women in politics. A trail blazes, blazing a trailblazer. Now Batman has served. Okay, it's a complete sentence. This is a complete sentence. A trailblazer in the treatment of mental illness. Next sentence is on the blink. On the blink means not working correctly. That is known as on the blink. The DVD player is on the blink again, which means it's not working. An old TV that's on the blink. So it means not working properly, faulty, defective. So that is known as on the blink. Now go by the board. So go by the board means to be forgotten or not used. Does this means our holiday plans will have to go by the board? There was certainty in employment which has completely gone by the board now. There was certainty in employment which has completely gone by the board now. Cut something to the board means reduce. To reduce resources or cost as much as possible. So that is known as cut something to the bone. So this is the picture for cut something to the bone. Reduce resources or cost, that is known as cut something to the bone. We managed to break even by cutting cost to the bone. So we managed to break even by cutting cost to the bones. Out of bounds, which means if a place is out of bound and people are not allowed to go there. So that you mean by out of bounds. So out of bound means people are not allowed to go there. That is known as out of bound. For the last few days, the area has been out of bounds to foreign journalists. So out of bounds means it's forbidden, banned, not allowed. So that is the meaning. Out of bounds. So this is the image, out of bounds. So the sentence forbidden, banned. So pick someone's brain. To ask someone advice about a subject the person knows a lot about. If a person knows a lot about it, and if we ask such person, that is known as pick someone's brain. Pick your brain. pick your brain about how you got rid of those weeds? Can I pick your brain about how you got rid of those weeds? You should pick John's brain sometime. He knows about car engines. I have just started playing. So this is the next sentence. I have just started playing professionally and I would love to pick your brains for any tips you might have. So I have just started playing professionally and I would love to pick your brains or any tips you might have. So that's the end. A Bible verse. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment shall condemn. This is the heritage of servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is from me. So, if you are, this is the heritage, okay? This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. So, we don't have to pay, we will be automatically getting that. It's a heritage from the Lord that no weapon formed against shall prosper. And this is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is from me, says the Lord. And it's said by the Lord, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. So whatever weapon, it could be by any shouting or any like abusing, any crime, criticizing from anyone or anything. So no weapon formed against you shall prosper. And likewise, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. So you shall condemn. So this is the Bible verse which you can repeat and pray so that you will it will be helpful in your difficult situation. Please keep on praying this Bible verse. All Bible verse acts as like a sword. You can attack back your enemy. So thank you.